It's a sticky day in Charlotte. The Bengals, the Panthers, and the third member of our crew. We say good afternoon to Steve Tasker on the sideline.
Thanks, Kevin. You know, a moment ago, Rich talked about Luke Kuechly and Geno Atkins on the defensive front for the Cincinnati Bengals. Geno Atkins is in the conversation for the absolute best defensive tackle in the National Football League. He and Aaron Donald share the lead in sacks for defensive tackles. Geno Atkins, we were told by Matt Khalil, the center for the Panthers, you've got to be technically sound for 60 minutes because he's a handful. On the other side, Luke Kuechly has become legendary for his first step in diagnosing and pursuing offensive plays from his middle linebacker spot. He is accepted as the best middle linebacker in the National Football League, and we talked to Marvin Lewis, and he echoed what a lot of head coaches say. Everybody is trying to clone Luke Kuechly that's here in Carolina. Kevin?
And Rich, that's tough to do, isn't it?
Well, he's a special player. I mean, Steve mentioned the instincts, the quickness, the ability to diagnose plays. At times you see him moving to the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. And I think that's the kind of instincts you're looking at when you talk about Luke Kuechly.
Randy Bullock, who just signed a 2-year extension, is going to kick off for Cincinnati. As we've had the flip of the coin, the Bengals won. They have deferred. The Panthers will be getting it coming up with the receiver DJ Moore. He is a rookie from Arkansas and a first-round pick and the first receiver selected in the draft. Back to get it, and out of the back it goes. And a touchback to the 25-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10. With an initial look at Cam Newton, who, Rich, is completing 69% of his passes. He's a career 59% completion guy.
Well, that was a point of emphasis the offseason. And of course, one of the reasons why they made the change to Norv Turner as the play caller. He had a career-high 32 completions last week against the Falcons. I think what I'm seeing from him is the patience. If it's not there down the field, he's willing to check it down to Christian McCaffrey.
McCaffrey in the backfield, 1st down and 10. Moton with the block. Hey, they're going deep, and that has not been seen much so far as they look downfield. It's incomplete for Torrey Smith. A lot of the passes for Newton have been going underneath the coverage. It's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. On that offensive line for the Panthers, Trey Turner is out, and so Tyler Larson taking his place at the guard. The tight end Olsen is out, and Chris Manhertz will take his place at the tight end position. Broken foot for Olsen again, refracturing that right foot. 2nd down and 10. Christian McCaffrey. And a gain of a yard on the play. Tackled down in the front there by Hardy Nickerson, who's coming in and replacing a pretty important part of the defense. Preston Brown on the line. Jordan Willis starting today for the inactive Michael Johnson. Johnson's got a knee issue. Nickerson replacing Brown. And in the secondary, Kirkpatrick is the #1 cornerback. Williams coming off a terrific game last week for the Bengals against Baltimore. 3rd down and 9. Into the nickel. Getting to the side, and it is caught across the way by Torrey Smith with a gain of 7 on the play, and the coverage by Dre Kirkpatrick. They'll put him at the 33. He is shy, and they'll have to punt.
Well, this Cincinnati secondary, they're going to make you work hard for completion. They're not going to give you very many free access throws. That's something that Cam Newton talked about on Friday. They play a lot of press man-to-man coverage, so these Carolina receivers are going to have to win and create some separation at the line of scrimmage.
Michael Pilardi is going to punt for the Panthers. Deep back is Alex Erickson. Humid day. Beautiful hang right here. Erickson from the 24. Hang a 4.97, 43-yard punt. Terrific hang right there for the Carolina punter. And this brings us to quarterback Andy Dalton, whose quarterback rating puts him, Rich, so far through 2 games in the top 10 in the NFL.
Well, he's one of the league's most accurate intermediate passers, I think, when he's on his game. I thought it was interesting in talking to Bill Lazor last night, the offensive coordinator. He said he's got a repeatable, consistent throwing motion. In other words, there's not a lot of wasted movement when you study Andy Dalton. He's got a concise, consistent stroke that allows him to get the ball out on time.
Bernard is in the backfield. It's first down and 10 for Dalton. And he'll throw on the screws, caught there by Tyler Boyd. Cover on the play by a couple, including Bradbury. It's a pickup of 23 and put him at the 48-yard line of Cincinnati.
You get so stuck on trying to find A.J. Green that you forget Tyler Boyd, who's had a really good start to the season. Good look at Andy Dalton just sitting in there, trusting the protection and making a good, accurate throw from the pocket.
5 in the secondary for the Panthers. First down and 10. And Bernard trying to work his way through on the line. K'Wan Short makes the stop. Gain of a yard to the 49-yard line. On that offensive line, Trey Hopkins taking the place of the center, Billy Price. Price is out for a couple weeks with an injury. We talked about Bernard in the backfield. Boyd just had the reception. It'll be second down and 9. Joe Mixon was one of the top rushers in the NFL through 2 weeks with a couple tight ends here for Andy Dalton. With play action. Here they come. And outside he goes. Bernard. And belted across the way by Shaq Thompson. He's into Carolina territory near the 45 and a pickup of 6. Now defensively for the Carolina Panthers, Dontari Poe is on the anchor position, the defensive tackle for the Panthers on their line. Peppers, oldest active defensive player in pro football. There you see the linebackers. Thompson made the tackle. We've talked about Kuechly. Kuechly is the former defensive player of the year in pro football. Colin Jones today taking the place of Denoris Searcy. Another concussion, his second in 5 weeks. So he is on IR.
Want to move A.J. Green inside. He's done a lot of the damage from the slot.
And there he goes. Good call, Rich. You're on it. A.J. Green as Dalton gets one in on 3rd and 3 and a pickup of 10 down to the 36-yard line of Carolina.
Look at the suddenness, the strength we talked about, the ability to use his hands to create separation, and he's got straight line speed. And again, a lot of the damage that he has done has been from inside the slot. You look at him the first 6 years, Kevin, he lined up outside the numbers. It made it a lot easy for defenses to kind of track where he's at, to press him, to roll coverage his way. It's much more difficult now when you line him up in the slot.
He gets that single coverage too. 1st and 10, screen Bernard. Kuechly around his ankles near the 29-yard line of the Panthers, and a quick pickup of 7 on 1st down.
Giovanni Bernard may be the best screen running back in football. He's very patient. He's got great vision. He's a smaller back, so you lose him behind that big offensive line when they get out and pull in front of the screens, but they're just looking for creative ways to get him the ball in space.
How about the start for Dalton? 23-yard pass to Boyd, 10-yard first down throw to Green, a 7-yard screen right there to Bernard. Dalton is 4-4 on the drive, as you see. 2nd down and 3. Bernard pulling is Glenn, and tackling across the way is Thompson. Also with Kuechly, and it's a gain of a couple on the play, giving 3 and a first down.
Well, Atlanta had a lot of success last week attacking on the edge of that front 7. You look at Giovanni Bernard, a talented back. I think he's capable of running between the tackles if you give him enough touches. I think the important thing against this Carolina defense is that you don't get discouraged early. You have to stay after the running game, and I think you have to be able to attack outside the tackles. They're so strong down the middle with Dontari Poe, K'Wan Short, and Luke Kuechly in the middle of that defense.
Rookie Mark Walton is the running back. Activated for the first time in his career today. Timeout Cincinnati. Something wasn't right.
That came from the sidelines. You're right, Kevin. They must have saw something, a formation or an adjustment on the defensive side of the ball that they didn't like.
Rich, this is a terrific drive. You take a look at 16-year head coach Marvin Lewis and Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator who took over early last year, Rich, and has really kind of changed the game of Dalton.
Well, they made a complete overhaul of the offensive system in the offseason. All new terminology. Remember, they made the offensive coordinator change week 2 last season. They went from Ken Zampese to Bill Lazor, who was the quarterback coach. And Lazor's done a terrific job. I think marrying the run game with the play-action game, Dalton's always been very good at that. I think the other thing is Dalton bought in. I mean, he was in the same system his first 7 seasons in the league, and he said, look, I'm willing to do the work necessary to make this work. And I think that's a big reason why this team is off to such a hot start.
Into the nickel. 1st and 10, 7th play of the opening drive for Cincinnati. The fake to Walton. And a nice catch right there. Into the 14-yard line goes Tyler Eifert. 6th catch of the year. 11-yard pickup. He's brought down by Colin Jones, and he's down to the 14-yard line.
Well, we talked about this change. You look at with Bill Lazor and without, and I mean, the numbers are significantly better. I just think sometimes change is necessary, right? Dalton had been in the same system his first 7 seasons, and again, I think the buy-in was important. The willingness to do the work necessary in the offseason to really feel comfortable in this system.
2 tight ends. Bernard is in. It's 1st and 10. Here they go. Boyd. And sidesteps his way down to the Carolina 7-yard line with a little catch of 7 yards. They're throwing a lot on 1st down and succeeding.
Well, you look at the action, it's going to go away from you, the play action fake. Dalton really good at throwing the ball on the move. They changed the launch point. And we've been talking a lot, Kevin, about Tyler Boyd. He's really kind of come into his own. Last night we had a chance to sit down and talk with the coaching staff. They said he feels like he's a #1 receiver. We got to keep reminding him, hey, we've got A.J. Green. Just do your job.
He had 6 catches last week against Baltimore. 5-minute drive, 2nd down, 3. Bernard, good block by Uzuma. And there goes Poe jumping on his back near the 3 with a gain of 4.
You know, this is a Panther defense that's historically been very difficult to run the football against. Before last week, they had gone 21 straight games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. Tevin Coleman of the Falcons had 16 for 107 last week. And I think you've got to make the big guys inside run. I think it's important to get Poe and K'Wan Short to have to run to the edges, because that's where I think you can have some success running the football against this front.
2 tight ends, Dalton to the end zone. Green, incomplete. Coverage by James Bradbury. He had Julio Jones last week to cover for Atlanta. This week it's Green.
Well, I think Bradbury's a good player. He likes to travel and match up with the opponent's best receiver. Last week it was Julio Jones. This week it's A.J. Green. And he's got the length that you love at that cornerback position. He's got the height. He's got the long arms. He's willing to get up there and press and disrupt these receivers. And you have to be able to do that with A.J. Green. You cannot give him a free release.
2nd down goal. Dalton. Touchdown. Green, did he hold on? Flag thrown. The officials confer. Incomplete. One calls it incomplete. Green did not hold on. Bradbury was there. Flag at the 5, and it's against Carolina.
Well, this was a blatant hold.
Green fell awkwardly, too, in the corner of the end zone.
But just watch right here. I mean, that's a...
The rule in the field is an incomplete pass. Prior to the pass, holding, defense, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
It's like his knee caught and then the head over heels. Green's going to chuck out. Jake Fisher has come in as an extra offensive lineman for the Bengals. With the tight ends and with Bernard. And the fullback is a defensive lineman to the end zone. Incomplete. Flag. It was going for Croft. The fullback in there was Sam Hubbard, the defensive lineman, and a rookie.
Holding, offense, number 24. Come here, penalty, 1st down.
That's going to push it out a little bit. We've seen the Bengals buzzsaw their way right downfield from their 25. They've scored 34 points to Marvin Lewis in each of their first 2 games. That's the most in the NFL since Denver did that back in 2013 with Peyton Manning as their quarterback. So they've been explosive, Rich, and they're showing it here today.
You know, just got some real poise and patience as you look at getting off to a fast start. That's why these coordinators, Kevin, spent so much time scripting the first 15 or 20 plays. Hubbard
a block for Bernard. On 1st and goal, digging And churning and touchdown. Guy at the top of your screen running in a 1-yard touchdown bulldozing move by Bernard. With Hubbard, the defensive lineman, blocking. And the Bengals score first on a well-executed drive by quarterback Andy Dalton.
Well, you put the big defensive end in the backfield. You let him go up and get a block, Hubbard. And then it's hard to track a smaller back like Giovanni Bernard. He just gets lost behind that big offensive line. He just finds a little crease, a little hole, Kevin. He finds a way to stick the ball over the goal line.
And they're pushing him, right? I mean, they're
doing everything they can to help. But what an impressive start for this Cincinnati offense.
Yeah, they got Boyd for 23.
Plays,
I know.
73 yards.
Green had that big third down reception for 10. Eifert caught one for 11. Bernard for 7. The extra point here by Bullock makes it 7-0 Cincinnati. The scoring continues. Their game-opening drive, a good one. And Bernard, taking the place of Mixon, pulverizes his way for a yard and a touchdown. When they found out that Mixon was going to have surgery out 2 to 4, Rich, there was no panic because Bernard filling in well.
He's been there. He's done it, Kevin. He's a capable player. I said in the open, he just needs the opportunities. He needs the touches, but he can be very effective running either between the tackles or out on the perimeter.
Well-executed 75-yard drive by the Bengals. The ensuing kickoff by Bullock, and DJ Moore will let it fly over his head and out of the end zone. Back to the 25 and a second consecutive possession. Starting from there for Cam Newton.
Well, let's take a look at the scouting report. I think clearly the strength of this Carolina offense is the quarterback. He's a dual threat. The injuries along the offensive line without 3 starters and also missing the Pro Bowl tight end Greg Olsen, certainly a concern. You look at this Cincinnati defense, the strength. We've talked about their front four. It's fantastic. If there's a weakness right now, I think it's the depth at the linebacker position. Certainly they're missing their starter Vontaze Burfict out for a suspension for the first 4 games.
Couple tight ends for Newton. With a 1st and 10, this is McCaffrey. There's a heavy reliance on him. A couple there on the stop, including Jordan Evans, one of the best in the NFL so far at stopping the run. Gain of 4 to the 29.
Well, you look at McCaffrey. I think they need more from him in the running game this season. Last year, he was held to fewer than 40 yards in 12 of their 16 games, and he never had more than 66 yards in any contest. Only 2 rushing touchdowns. I think he's stronger. I think we see him breaking more tackles, but I think he needs to be more of a focal point this season with their running game.
4-3-4 defense for Cincinnati. With a 2nd down and 6 for Cam Newton. The fake to McCaffrey, offers the block and downfield for Funchess. With an incompletion on the play. Jackson.
Well, just a 2-man route. They're going to keep in 7 to block, and it's very protection conscious. This is good protection. Cam's got to make this throw. So a bit high. Certainly you think one that Devin Funchess can handle, but high across the middle, not an ideal throw from Cam Newton.
Funchess took over the number 1 receiver role last year when Kelvin Benjamin was traded to Buffalo. 3rd down and 6.
When Cam Newton misses a throw, Kevin, it's generally high. A lot of it has to do with his body lean and his footwork.
Cam again to the air, and a catch right there by Wright, who's tackled by Dre Kirkpatrick. That is a 1st down. He's up to the 36 on a gain of 7 on 3rd and 6, and they'll move the chains for the first time today.
Well, Carolina's had a lot of change at the wide receiver position. They added Torrey Smith in a trade with Philadelphia this offseason. Jarius Wright came over from the Minnesota Vikings. He's got some history with Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator. Of course, they drafted DJ Moore in the 1st round. 3 different receivers that Cam didn't have the luxury of working with a season ago.
In the nickel, 1st and 10. Newton hit as he throws, and it's incomplete here to DJ Moore. They want to go to him more. He's only caught 1 pass. Moore has this year. It was a 51-yard touchdown reception. So they want to get him more involved. The 1st-round pick, 2nd down and 10.
He shows special bursts and acceleration off the line of scrimmage when you really go back and study him at Maryland. He's a special player, and I just think it's a question of him getting more confidence. I think it's also a question of him feeling comfortable in this system. They initially trained him at all 3 different wide receiver positions, and the last week or 2 they've really kind of focused in onto one spot where he can have a package of plays up and ready to go each week.
With 2 tight ends, 2nd down and 10. Here comes McCaffrey. He's slippery. And he was brought down by Jordan Evans. It's a weaving run of 13 and a first down for Carolina to their 49.
Well, you got to be able to keep an eye on him. He's going to start outside and then he winds it back. He's got great vision. I think you can see the offseason work beginning to pay off. He looks stronger. He's running harder. I think he's breaking more tackles. And I think as a result, I think they're more comfortable running him up inside between the tackles.
Number 8 overall pick out of Stanford last year. Of course, his dad, Ed, a 13-year veteran in the NFL. Most of it with the Broncos. 1st and 10. Nickel secondary. And Newton. McCaffrey, big hole into the secondary, and there he goes. It is a foot race. McCaffrey inside the 10. Tackle made by Jesse Bates out of Wake Forest. 45-yard sprint. 1st and goal, Carolina at the 6.
Just watch this kick out block and then watch this hole. Watch this gap, this big gap that you see for the back just to hit it. And now he's up on the 2nd level and he's got great speed, great vision, and we just talked about running him more between the tackles where he can do some damage.
Tight end Thomas with a nice block as Rich is talking about 1st and goal, Carolina. Career-long 45-yard run by McCaffrey. Here comes Cam, and this is where he likes to take it inside. Stopped there by Hardy Nickerson, the undrafted Illinois linebacker with a gain of 3. Cam to the 3.
You know, when you study Cam Newton, sometimes in this part of the field, Kevin, even though the read may say give it to the back, he keeps it. I mean, I see this a lot. I think we talk about having a nose for the end zone. He scored 50. He's got 55 career rushing touchdowns, and when he gets in this part of the field, he wants to keep it. You look at those numbers. There's a reason why he is their leading rusher right now. He's averaging over 5.5 yards a carry.
Fullback is on a couple tight ends. 2nd down goal at the 3. McCaffrey. It looked like Carlos Dunlap got him. He did. Wrapped him up. Gain of a yard. Put him at the 2. McCaffrey.
Well, the Bengals have a new defensive coordinator as well. And Terrell Austin came over from the Lions. He's done a nice job in a short period of time. I think really installing a game plan and really building a defense around the strength of this personnel. And it starts right up front with their defensive line.
3rd and goal at the 3. Newton. And in for the touchdown, number 56. The most ever by a quarterback. 2-yard touchdown run, Cam Newton.
Well, you're going to see the guard pull, and then you're going to see the action downhill. Then Cam's just going to keep it on the bootleg. And this is an unusual. I mean, we're talking about a quarterback that's 6'5". That's almost 250 pounds. And when he starts running with the ball, he's more like a tight end than a quarterback. He's not looking to go down. He's not looking to slide. He's not looking to protect himself in that part of the field.
We talked about the blocking. The left guard, Van Roten over there, leading the way for the 6'5" Cam Newton. Gano will tie the game at 7 with about 3 to play in the 1st. Cam Newton does it again. He's got a career-high completion percentage, but it's the same old way, running it in for 6 for the Panthers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Verizon, the best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Ford, going further so you can.
Picturesque Charlotte, North Carolina. Here we're tied at 7 late 1st quarter. Rich, you know it's coming, right? When they got it inside the 10, Newton's going to take it.
Yeah, and you look at this list here, you see all these great running backs. You wouldn't anticipate seeing a quarterback, but as you said, Kevin, you get down in the red zone, you got to be asleep at the wheel if you don't anticipate Cam Newton keeping the football. And he's done it so many times, so many different ways in that part of the field.
Al Gano with the ensuing kickoff. With a couple of short touchdown runs by both teams, Erickson lets it fly out of the end zone. Touch back to the 25 with the 1st and 10 for the Bengals.
Very efficient opening drive for the Bengals today. 11 plays, 73 yards. I thought Andy Dalton was sharp, spreading the football around. You see Tyler Boyd getting the ball to the back and on the edge. Of course, finding ways to get the ball down the field. And they've been so efficient down in the red zone. In fact, they've come away with points at 28 consecutive red zone trips. That's the longest active streak in the NFL.
First and 10. Fake to Bernard. Good block by the tight end. And downfield they go. They're looking for Green, covered heavily by 15-year veteran Mike Adams. Out of bounds, incomplete. Croft bought some time with his blocking for the quarterback Dalton.
Well, they're not going to give A.J. Green a lot of space. You see both safeties playing in and out coverage on the 6'4" A.J. Green. Not able to get both feet in bounds.
Panthers have 4 in their secondary. 2nd down and 10.
We may take a look at that one. It was pretty close. Question is, does he get both feet in bounds? He's got the first one, and does he drag? Is he able to drag that right foot?
They'll take a look at it, and we'll step aside with 2:55 to play in the first from Charlotte on CBS. Successful challenge by Cincinnati to New York. Our rules analyst is NFL referee Gene Steratore. Gene, what'd you see?
I think a really good overturn, and I'll tell you why. There's a little ball movement, but not enough to say he didn't possess that. Good plant and a dot of the eye with the back right toe. I think it's a good overturn to a completed pass.
John Perry and his crew doing it. Gene, thank you. Bernard in the backfield, a couple tight ends for the 1st and 10, and he bumped into his own pulling player, Bobby Hart, the right tackle. Hart was signed off the street, former Giant, knocking him down, losing 7 on the play, back to the 49.
Well, penetration, you just watch here. I mean, this is, the guard has no chance. He's going to get pushed right into the backfield. That's just a great effort by Kyle Love.
That was Trey Hopkins, the center. Excuse me, I said Hart. It was Hopkins who's taking the place of the injured rookie out of Ohio State, Billy Price. Out with a foot injury. 2nd down, 17. Outside they go. Green again, covered by Bradbury. Put him to the 43 and a pickup of 8.
Well, I'm surprised that Bradbury's not pressing. You see the off coverage, and we talked about these free access throws. I mean, you got to make sure that you do something. You got to make things difficult for A.J. Green. We talked to Luke Kuechly. He said you got to continually change things up. You got to give him different looks. You have to be able to get your hands on him at the line of scrimmage and to disrupt his release and the timing and rhythm of their passing attack.
Green had the 3 touchdown receptions, a career high against Baltimore 10 days ago, Thursday, 3rd and 17. They need the 34. Timeout Dalton.
It's their 2nd timeout here in the first half.
And that's the story right there. The Bengals come in 2-0, first place in the AFC North, beating Baltimore 10 days ago, 34-23, and beat Indianapolis opening weekend by that same score. Panthers rich at 1-1, tied for 2nd in the NFC South. Lost to Atlanta last week, 31-24. They won the opener here against Dallas, 16-8.
And they're led by 2 very good and experienced head coaches. You see Ron Rivera does a terrific job, not only with their defense, but with some of the changes that they've had to make with their staff. He hired Eric Washington, promoted Eric Washington this year as a defensive coordinator after losing a very good coordinator, Steve Wilkes, to the Cardinals. 2 years before that, it was Sean McDermott. So he does a good job promoting from within.
They need the 34. 3rd down and 17. Glenn trying to hold him off. Robber and picked off on the play. The rookie's got it. Out of LSU, Dante Jackson. His second interception this season. Playing with a groin injury that limited him in practice this week. Picking off Dalton. The drive is stopped. Carolina's defense is there. Timeout in Charlotte.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV. And by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
It had been a while since Andy Dalton threw a pick. It was early in the season. Jackson, the rookie, making his second pick in less than 3 games. So from the 33, Cam Newton with the 1st and 10. They go outside here to DJ Moore. First wide receiver selected in the draft and wrapped up by Denard across the way. He picks up 3 on the play, Rich, to the 36 of Carolina.
This is not an easy offense to pick up. We talked a little bit about Norv Turner. I thought he was a logical choice. They made the change. He's worked with the head coach in the past. And
speeding things up here. 2nd down and 7. Rush is on him from Dunlap. Tackle right there made by Vigil, and the catch by the tight end Ian Thomas, just his 5th of the season. They stay at the 36. There is no gain on the play. It's our first trip to New York in our CBS studios. James Brown.
AP, 7th all-time rushing TDs.
Yeah, here he is going for a 2-yard run. Touchdown against the Green Bay Packers. 7 carries for 34 yards today. Washington 14, Green Bay nothing. Back to Kevin, Rich, and Steve.
Peterson was signed late in camp by the Redskins.
He still has some tread left on those tires, Kevin, I can promise you.
3rd and 7 after the Carolina interception. Right on the money, hard throw. Kirkpatrick is there. The catch made by Torrey Smith, who was with Philadelphia a year ago. Gain of 8 on 3rd and 7 to the 44, 1st down.
Nice route. He makes sure he gets enough to get to the sticks. It's a good throw by Cam Newton. He puts it right on the chest of Torrey Smith. Boy, this Cincinnati defense has absolutely struggled to get off the field on 3rd down. It is a huge problem for this team. They're currently dead last in 3rd down efficiency. Offenses are converting almost 55% of their chances on 3rd down.
4 in the secondary for the Bengals. 1st and 10. Newton will run. He's looking for a block. Larson provided one. Then he is snuffed out right there with a good stop by Carl Lawson. There is no gain. They stay at the 44. That takes us to the end of the 1st quarter. 1-yard touchdown run by Bernard. 2-yard touchdown run by Newton. Tied at 7 on CBS. And through 15 minutes of football, those are some of the numbers here in Charlotte. Tied at 7. Dante Jackson's interception has given Carolina this possession. First play of the 2nd quarter. And Cam across the way. He's got Funchess on a slide. Brought down by Kirkpatrick. It is a 1st down throw to the 40-yard line of Cincinnati. 16-yard pickup.
Well, good looking route from Funchess in the slot. You see him working on Dre Kirkpatrick, and really a nice throw. Watch how Cam Newton's going to bring him back down the boundary. Good safe throw, low and away.
5-6.
Nickel for Cincinnati. 1st and 10. It's McCaffrey who's got a 45-yard run today. And he's into the secondary. Bates got him last. Gain of 5 down to the 35.
Well, this Carolina offense has had some success running the football. You look at this big run from McCaffrey, the 45-yarder that got him down in the red zone. And then, of course, down in this part of the field, we know what's going to happen. At some point, Cam Newton is going to pull the ball and run. And you just see this, the vision that he has, the patience with the football, and the trust to know that he can score in that part of the field. Really good balance. 9 rushes, 9 passes so far for the Panthers on offense.
2nd down and 5. Cam wide open across the way. Funchess. Someone blew it right there. He was hit by Vigil and by Bates. 27-yard pickup. They'll put him at the 8, first and goal, Carolina.
Just watch how wide open Funchess gets down here. This is unusual. I mean, look at this. I mean, there's no one around him. And then you just watch Cam Newton. When he's in rhythm, he's able to set and just drill the ball. Again, you talk about throwing off the back foot. It's been a point of emphasis. They're trying to get him to really work on finishing on that front foot. But nonetheless, a very good throw to a wide open Devin Funchess.
With a first and goal at the 8. McCaffrey's making his way to the 4. Hit by Bates. Gain of 4 on the play.
They run so much of this zone read, you're just never sure whether McCaffrey's going to get the ball, Cam's going to keep it, Cam's going to pull it and play action. And it's a lot to prepare for on a short week. You know, when you're Cincinnati, you don't see a lot of this, especially with a quarterback that's so active and so mobile and so difficult to tackle in the open field.
Yeah, your eyes are diverted all over the place, aren't they?
They are, and again, they do a great job. A lot of plays that look the same, but yet are different.
Second down and goal. Touchdown, Funchess. 4-yard touchdown pass. And Carolina takes the lead. And the interception by Dante Jackson sets up the possession.
Well, we talk about the action. You watch the action and then watch the bite that this gets, and it opens up a huge window on the back end. This is an easy throw for Cam Newton because he doesn't have to worry about the flat defender.
Jackson was back there in the secondary for Cincinnati in the area. He thought there might have been a push. Newton throws the touchdown pass, his 4th of the year. And it's a Gano extra point, which makes it 14-7 Carolina. 3 minutes into the second quarter. Interception by the rookie Dante Jackson. And then Cam throws a laser, and Funchess brings it in. Rich on that 67-yard touchdown drive by Newton in Carolina. Newton was 6 of 6.
Very efficient, Kevin, and I just love how they move the pocket. The play action's been so effective. Done a good job spreading the ball around, but when push comes to shove, right now it's been Funchess. That's been his go-to guy in a critical situation.
Graham Gano kicks it out of the end zone, 25-yard line, touchback, and for the 3rd straight time, Bengals will start at the 25. Let's go to Steve Tasker on the sideline.
Kevin, in March of this year, Christian McCaffrey, running back for the Carolina Panthers, his 2 brothers, Dylan and Max, along with Michael Mann, were hiking in Colorado. They happened upon Dan Smoker Sr. and his grandson, Eli. Dan Smoker, 72-year-old grandfather, had fallen 20 feet onto some boulders and was in serious distress. It looked like he was not going to make it off the mountain. With quick action and help from his friends, Dylan McCaffrey, Max McCaffrey, and Christian helped save the life of Dan Smoker.
Good story, 1st and 10 Dalton, and this goes to the tight end, Tyler Eifert, who's hit by a couple, including Adams. And it's a gain of 13 on a quick hitter to the 38 of Cincinnati and a first down. Steve?
Yeah, and furthermore, they were a large part while Dan Smoker survived that incident, and now the entire family, being Cincinnati Bengal fans and being raised in Cincinnati, are here at the game today as guests of the Carolina Panthers. A great story for Christian McCaffrey, the Panthers, and the Bengals as well.
Indeed it is. Thank you. Here's a quick jet sweep, and it comes to Tyler Boyd. To the near side, Ed Jackson over there, who had the pick on the last series. Gain of 5, though, and he takes it out to the 43 of Cincinnati.
Well, it's a good alert play by Dante Jackson. He's actually got him in man coverage. Watch him come in here and deliver this blow on Tyler Boyd. He knocks him backwards. That's a good hit by the young corner.
Jackson's got the only 2 interceptions by Carolina's defense so far, and playing, as we mentioned before, with a groin injury, left the game last week against Atlanta. It starts today, 2nd down and 5 for the Bengals. And over the head of John Ross. The speedy John Ross, coverage by Kuechly. 3rd and 5.
Well, the problem is that they try to run the boot action, and Munnerlyn's going to come screaming off the edge, and as Dalton turns back around, Munnerlin's right in his face. He doesn't have the time he needs to make a good, accurate throw to the under route.
Panthers in the nickel. Bernard in the backfield. 3rd down and 5 for Dalton. He's got plenty of time, and a great-looking catch by Eifert in the first down, hit by Thompson. Corkscrews his way to the 49, picks up 8 on 3rd and 5, and a first down for the Bengals.
Really nice job with this Cincinnati offense. Just watch the protection. Watch this pocket form around Dalton. Now he's got a chance to work to his right. It's not there. He's going to work all the way back across the formation to find his tight end, Tyler Eifert. And it all starts up front with great protection by that offensive line.
Including the right tackle, Bobby Hart, really held off on that right side. 1st and 10. Dalton 9 of 13, 115 with a pick. Going deep. And incomplete for Ross. With the coverage on the play, but Dante Jackson. John Ross, he said he was fast. He ran a combine record 4.22. Highest in combine history. 2nd down and 10.
Well, he has speed to burn. Unfortunately, he was a non-factor as a rookie because of the various injuries, but he was last year's 1st-round pick. Kevin, you talk about it. I mean, look at this. These are 2 guys that can go, but look at Ross, 4.22. That's what I referred to as rare and unusual speed and quickness.
He had shoulder and ankle issues last year, so he was out. 2nd down and 5. With a 2nd down and 10 with Dalton. From behind, hit by Obata. The loose ball, Munnerlin. And that is a turnover. The 2nd by Cincinnati. The big hit by Obata. From London, England, coming through for the Carolina D. He got around the left tackle, Cordy Glenn, and forces a 2nd turnover by the Carolina D.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. McDonald's. And by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925.
Every turnover is reviewed, and during our break, John Perry took a look at that play, and they've called it an incompletion.
Well, watch Dalton. Watch when the Obata comes in. Now he still has the grip. He still has possession, and he's able to push the ball out some way, somehow. But it was a great job by Dalton holding on to the football under duress.
So the ball's at the 49-yard line of Carolina. It's 3rd down and 10 for Cincinnati. And the Bengals have not converted a 3rd and 10 or longer. 0 of 9 this year so far.
Well, they're having some problems now. You got the receivers leaving the huddle, and you got Andy Dalton calling them back in. The officials jumped in and slowed them down.
The defense of Carolina, Rich, was characterized by Ron Rivera earlier in the week as terrible and lazy in what they did or did not do against Atlanta. They seem to be focused and playing fast today. 3rd and 10. Dalton wide open. He's got Boyd, who's knocked out by Jackson. Long throw completion to the 26-yard line of Carolina. 23-yard pickup for the Bengals.
Boy, they're having a lot of success working in the slot to these corner routes. Again, good protection, but a good throw by Dalton, putting it right on the numbers for Tyler Boyd. Boyd has really, he's gotten my attention, Kevin, the first 3 weeks of the season. He's making a lot of plays either opposite or alongside A.J. Green.
Had a knee injury last year, kept him out of a lot of the action. Here comes Bernard. There goes a flag. There was a block by Bowling, and out of bounds he goes with Kuechly right there and hoisting him up on a 14-yard run as it stands now to the 14 of Carolina. John Perry takes a look at things on the field.
Offside, defense, number 90, lined up in the neutral zone. Penalty decline. First down.
Nice run. Gio Bernard picking it up. And they take it to the 14-yard line of the Carolina Panthers.
Well, you just look at Julius Peppers. I think his head's in the neutral zone. I don't think he jumps. He's just lined up in the neutral zone. Look and run. They didn't do a good enough job, Kevin, disengaging, getting off of blocks last week. And they missed way too many tackles.
Multiple tight ends, 1st and 10 Cincinnati. It's Green from Dalton. Nice open field tackle. Bradbury, and it is a gain of a yard. James Bradbury out of Samford.
That is a really good tackle by Bradbury. Look at the spacing. Now he knows he's in trouble. Now he's got to make the tackle. Good shoestring tackle by James Bradbury. I was really impressed when we sat down with him on Friday. He's quiet, he's soft-spoken. He really liked Darrelle Revis as he was growing up. He said he liked him because he was not the biggest guy. He was soft-spoken, but he made a ton of plays in coverage.
2nd down, 9, Gio Bernard. Near the 10, bottom of the pile is K'Wan Short with a gain of a couple. Poe is in there too.
You know, it's not easy when you're James Bradbury. Last week you had to travel with Julio Jones. I thought he did a terrific job. Julio Jones had 5 catches. He didn't score. And now this week he's got the assignment of A.J. Green. I mean, it doesn't get any more difficult than that. Back-to-back against 2 of the best receivers in football.
5 wide, 5 in the secondary, 3rd and 6. And grabbed on the play by Ross. Coverage by Jackson to the 1. Gain of 9. 1st and goal to go, Cincinnati.
This is really good coverage. It's just the location of the throw. I mean, Andy Dalton puts this low and away for John Ross in a position where only he can make the catch.
So they bring in Jake Fisher from the sideline as an extra lineman.
Dalton's made some big throws today for the Buckeyes.
Hubbard is in, 12th play of the drive. It's 1st and goal. Fake to Bernard. Nice play by Dalton. That is a touchdown. What a fake. Uzomah. 1-yard touchdown reception by the tight end. As Andy Dalton plays Houdini with the ball.
Well, he sells it. Just watch him turn and watch the exchange between himself and the back. He's going to turn his back to the line of scrimmage. He's going to stick the right hand in there, and then he holds his head up just a tad, just to let you really feel like he still has the football. Then he is able to wheel back around and find his tight end, Uzomah.
Each quarterback is at a touchdown pass. Each team is at a short touchdown run. With the extra point, we are tied. Drilling it in, Bullock. Big plays on that drive. Boyd caught one for 23. Eifert for 8 and for 13. And then the sleight of hand, Dalton to Uzomah to tie the game for Cincinnati. Dalton on 3rd downs on that drive. 8 yards to Eifert, 23 yards to Boyd, 9 yards to Ross. Remember, the ball that was supposedly fumble overturned. The ensuing kickoff is out of the back and a touchback to the 25. Saturday, the best game from the best conference features Tennessee taking on 2nd-ranked Georgia. The Vols and the new head coach Jeremy Pruitt look to avenge a tough loss last year against the Bulldogs. College football today kicks off the day at 3 Eastern on CBS. Bulldogs won up in Columbia, Missouri yesterday, and Tennessee got thwarted by Florida last night in Knoxville. Cam Newton has thrown a 4-yard touchdown pass. He's had a 2-yard touchdown run. Lines up here, 1st and 10. Moore in motion. McCaffrey gets the call. And a block by the tight end, Ian Thomas. And he'll plunge his way to the 31 with a pickup of 6 by McCaffrey on 1st down.
We mentioned the musical chairs up front with their offensive line because of the injury bug. And you really got to give the replacements some credit, especially Chris Clark and Taylor Moton, the 2 tackles. I think they've really done a nice job the last couple of weeks, not only in the running game, but also protecting Cam Newton. Clark, he wasn't even in the training camp this summer. He was sitting at home before the Panthers called him week 2.
Second down, 4 into the nickel. McCaffrey. No place to run, no place to hide. Hit on the play by Nick Vigil, their leading tackler for the Bengals, and a gain of 2. And he's up to the 33.
You know, it's amazing. You look at Chris Clark. He was a college free agent, wasn't drafted. He spent time at Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Denver, Houston. I mentioned he wasn't even in a training camp. And then you look at Matt Khalil gets hurt. They call him up. He comes in on a Wednesday. They say, you're going to line up at left tackle. He doesn't know any of the plays. He talked to Ryan Khalil, the center. He said, our communication, it was simply, hey, you block him. And he did a terrific job last week against Atlanta. He's doing another fine job today, but I give him a lot of credit for a guy coming in at short notice and stepping up.
Sign him right off the street. 3rd and 2. That's a first down throw. Funchess right in front of Darqueze Dennard on a gain of 4 to the 37.
You know, when you study Cam Newton, when his feet are set and he's in rhythm, he throws a very accurate and catchable ball. And you looked here. I mean, we've seen a number of these throws today, and I think what they've tried to do is they've tried to speed up the process a little bit. Get him to speed his feet and his drops to help him be more deliberate and to get the ball out quicker, and it's starting to show.
Torrey Smith with another catch. First down and 10. Khalil the snap. The fake to McCaffrey. And Newton, and he goes downfield to Thomas. He's banged in the play by Sean Williams. 18-yard pickup. 45-yard line of Cincinnati. Let's go to New York, and here is James Brown.
Breeze to the top.
Yeah, 17 yards to Michael Thomas. This completion sets the NFL all-time record for completions. Broke Brett Favre's record, 6,301 completions by Drew Brees. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, Steve Tasker, back to you.
Who's like Brett Favre. Thank you very much. Newton has hit 8 in a row through the air. Look at McCaffrey breaking tackles into the secondary, and Dennard is there. 15-yard pickup. And they take it to the 30-yard line of Cincinnati.
We talk about the offseason work and conditioning, and just watch McCaffrey. When he gets this football, he's going to run into the linebacker, and he just, that's Hardy Nickerson. He's a good backer.
Yeah.
And he just runs right through that tackle. You see the right hand, he pushes the linebacker right in the sternum, and he just is able to kick right through that tackle.
Anderson back there with McCaffrey.
It's all that work in the weight room.
McCaffrey's got 96 yards on the ground, and here comes Anderson with the tackle made by Sam Hubbard. Nickerson some help, gain of 6 down to the 24.
And I thought C.J. Anderson was a great addition in free agency. He was a 1,000-yard rusher a season ago for the Broncos. He's very different than what they have with McCaffrey, more of a power back, a guy that can come in there and get you some attitude runs between the tackles.
Runs of 15 and 6 by McCaffrey on this drive. 18-yard pass to Thomas. And Anderson remains in the backfield with a second down and 4.
We got to find 22.
Here he comes. Pitch. Anderson the other way with a screen. There was a block by Clark. And Khalil, and he'll take it into the end zone. It is a touchdown. What a play. C.J. Anderson with an entourage. 24-yard touchdown.
Well, so much of the focal point is on McCaffrey that what you lose track of is the screen game. Watch this offensive line get out in front. But again, so much of the emphasis has been on McCaffrey. Had 14 receptions last week. This is a great design by Norv Turner. Look at the offensive lineman out in front. You never think they're going to throw the screen back to C.J. Anderson. But again, when you think about tracking number 22, McCaffrey, that's where most of the balls go in the passing game.
Second touchdown pass. Second straight by the quarterback, Cam Newton. And Gano puts it through to put the Panthers on top, 21-14 over Cincinnati. 3 consecutive scores. A 2-yard touchdown run by Newton, a 4-yard touchdown pass to Funchess. Ron Rivera just saw his quarterback with a little screen, and a catch and run by Anderson for another 6. Back in 30 after this from Progressive Insurance. 2 straight touchdown passes by Newton, 3 consecutive touchdowns by Carolina, including a 2-yard touchdown run by Newton. That's our score. With new offensive coordinator Norv Turner's fingerprints on this offense, Rich.
I think the sign of a good coordinator is the ability to utilize your talent. And really, I think he's focused in on, obviously, Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey, but I think he's tweaked his offense and his scheme to really take advantage of their skill sets.
There's Norv. We talked to him on Friday. That is out of the end zone. Touchback to the 25. One of the things they liked about Turner, number one, he had coached Teddy Bridgewater up in Minnesota. Number two, early in his career, he had dealt with a pretty good running back in Emmitt Smith. Those things he brings, that knowledge of using 2 pretty important players on offense where they've got the same kind of individuals with the Panthers in terms of quarterback and running back.
Well, he worked with Ron Rivera. Rob Jasinski was one of his young assistants who came here initially with Ron Rivera. He was the coordinator, then Mike Shula. So it's the same system, it's the same terminology, and I think that's why Norv Turner was a logical choice.
It's Bernard on 1st and 10. Shaq Thompson there. Former number 1 pick out of Washington 4 years ago. No gain on the play. They stay near the 25.
Well, the one thing you see when you study this defense is the pursuit angle. Just watch these guys all take off when they see the quick bubble screen. Shaq Thompson, very athletic, a good open field tackle, but this is a group that runs to the football.
2nd down and 10 for Andy Dalton. Right on the screws for Green with the coverage by Bradbury. And he's out near the 36-yard line. It is a gain of 11 and a 1st down.
Well, they're still giving A.J. Green plenty of space on the boundary. You see Bradbury with his eyes in the backfield. And A.J. is one of the most accomplished receivers. As we mentioned, he can score from anywhere on the field. 7 Pro Bowl selections, Kevin, in 7 seasons for A.J. Green. He's the real deal.
2-minute warning with the Panthers on top of Cincinnati on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Yesterday here in Charlotte, the St. Jude Walk and Run to end childhood cancer took place. Congratulations to Ellis for no more chemo. They had a party for him yesterday, and thanks to St. Jude for their continued efforts to end childhood cancer. 1st and 10. Cincy a timeout. Blocked by Hart at the right tackle. They go outside to Eifert. Over there, they had Brian Cox Jr. among a couple to make the stop. Gain of 11 on the play to the 47.
You see Tyler Eifert, their tight end, they just got him split out wide. And if he can stay healthy, he can really hurt you. Injuries have severely handicapped him in 3 of his 5 seasons.
He's basically missed most of the last 2 years for the Bengals.
He's done so much damage down in the red zone. They can really use him.
LA.
Easy, hey, go Boston.
Hey, Boston, big duel. Hey, gap.
Dalton is hit 7 straight. Here comes the rush right now by Obata. Incomplete. Bernard down the side. Coverage on the play by Cox. 2nd and 10.
Well, this is effective. You see the double-A pressure. What they want to do is they want to get the free rusher on the outside. They gap it up inside, and that creates the free rusher, Obata, on the edge. And Andy Dalton has to throw it away. Good job forcing them to squeeze down, and that freed up Obata.
5 defensive backs for the Panthers. 2nd down and 10. Dalton outside. Boyd hit by the rookie Jackson, who's got a pick already in the game. It is a gain of 3, and he's out to midfield. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, JB Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cowher. Scores, news, and highlights from this week 3 in the NFL. All coming up from our CBS studios in New York, the Verizon halftime report. 3rd and 7. And Dalton to the air and incomplete on the play. He's looking for Boyd. And he had all kind of covers, including Captain Munnerlyn. They also had Mac Adams back there, and it's incomplete, and it's 4th and 7. Here comes the punting unit for the Bengals.
That was really good coverage on the back end from the Panthers. Dalton had plenty of time. He just couldn't find the open receiver.
Cincinnati native Kevin Huber will punt. Deep back is the rookie out of Maryland, DJ Moore. Minimal wind inside the stadium here this afternoon. Moore will wave it off. And they down it, it looks like. Did he keep his balance? Cody Core was down there. 49-yard punt. Mark him at the 1. Well placed by Huber, and a terrific special teams play by Cody Core.
Well, great effort there, and look at the balance. He's able to keep both of those feet out of the end zone, and a big play in the kicking game from Cody Core.
All right, 1:09 Rich to go. Carolina with 3 timeouts, and they have moved the ball well. 3 consecutive scores here in the first half.
Yeah, and it depends what happens here, Kevin, on the first couple plays of this drive. Do you take this 21-14 lead into the half, or do you just keep pushing the envelope?
Or when you see a statistic like that they've allowed so many points in the last 2 minutes, maybe it's time to hit the throttle.
Some coordinators will take a shot here on first down, backed up in their own end. It's a good opportunity for Cam Newton to use a hard count.
This is the fullback who's going to take this, Alex Armah from West Georgia. Gaining a yard. There's just not a whole lot there. And he will stay at about the 3. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB and Company. Scores, news, and highlights. Verizon Halftime Report is on deck from New York.
If Cincinnati hadn't burnt those 2 timeouts earlier in the game, they may be using timeouts here to try and get the ball back. But with just 1 timeout left, it looks like both coaches are comfortable going into halftime with the score the way it is.
Couple tight ends and the back. Fullback in motion right there. 2nd and 9. McCaffrey.
Now we'll take a timeout here.
Right in the grasp of Vigil. It's a gain of about 3, and he's up to near the 6. So Marvin Lewis, who is 60 years old today, who brings his youngest team in his tenure with the Bengals into this season, begins at 2-0, scoring a lot of points, 34 each game in the first 2 games against a Carolina team which won the opener here, lost in Atlanta, and now have got a lead. They come in 1-1.
They've made significant changes with the organization. 6 new coaches, a number of new and young players. You look at these great pictures from our guy Marvin Lewis. He's had a great career as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach with the Bengals. But as he said to us, it was time for change. We had to change some things because it simply wasn't working.
So Dalton has thrown a touchdown pass of a yard. Bernard had a 1-yard touchdown run for the Bengals, but it's been Cam Newton for the Panthers. The 2-yard touchdown run, a 4-yard touchdown pass to Funchess, and a 24-yard touchdown pass Cam Newton on a catch and run screenplay to running back C.J. Anderson. The Panthers and the Bengals go to halftime. It's coming up next after this first half highlight from Verizon and a word from your local CBS station. Panthers on top of the Cincinnati Bengals 21-14. Let's now take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV. 2 touchdown passes for Newton. This one to C.J. Anderson.
It was a well-designed play. You see the action. Cam's going to fade to his right, pump it. You lose C.J. Anderson as he wields backside, and you look at the offensive line get out in front. But a really good half of football, Kevin, really for both teams. I thought it was interesting. Christian McCaffrey, a career-high 14 receptions last week. Not a single catch today. He's been more of a decoy, but 99 first-half rushing yards. It's been a very good performance from McCaffrey.
Cincinnati with a couple 75-yard drives.
Dalton's looked impressive. I mean, he's throwing the ball around. He's moving around. They've got to be able to crank up the running game a little bit there. You see the rushing differential, just 23 rushing yards in the first half. And I think, you look at what they've got to do differently in the second half. I think Giovanni Bernard needs more touches in the running game for the Bengals.
Cincinnati will get it to begin the second half. Gano has it teed up at the 35, and Alex Erickson is deep back for Cincinnati. Everything's been out of the end zone so far in these kickoffs, and this is no exception. To the 25-yard line of the touchback and to the sideline, and Steve Tasker.
Kevin, I spoke to Marvin Lewis as he came off the field. He's really disappointed in his team's run defense. We can't get him into third downs because we're doing such a poor job with their run game on first and second down. Offensively, he says they're completely out of sync. They've got to get their rhythm back offensively. Coming out at halftime, Ron Rivera told me, he says, listen, our defense is struggling with their RPOs, their run-pass options. We've got to get them to third down. But also, our running game has been the engine that's driving us. So look for Carolina to grind it out on the ground in the second half.
First and 10, handoff to Gio Bernard. There he goes, flinging himself into the secondary. With a nice sprint, brought down by Colin Jones. Searcy is out on the IR after last week. 23-yard sprint, and he'll take it up to the 48.
Well, just watch the block and watch this gap, this hole right here for Giovanni Bernard. I just said this is going to be important. Cincinnati is 9-1-1 in the last 11 games when he carries the ball at least 15 times. Just needs more touches in the second half.
But is he winded or hurt? Let's see. Mark Walton has come in, the rookie, and a fourth-round pick out of Miami. First and 10, and there goes Green. Brought down by Shaq Thompson. Gain of 6 to the 46.
Just watch him at the end of this play. Looks like he gets rolled up on, and right there, maybe that right ankle.
You know, Joe Mixon is out. Successful knee surgery last Saturday. He'll miss 2 to 4 weeks.
And not having Joe Mixon really hurts the Bengals. I mean, he's got power as well as breakaway finish speed, and he's also very good in the passing game.
Walton remains second down and 4. Incomplete. Looking for Green. Coverage on the play by James Bradbury. And Green is shaken up. The 7-time Pro Bowler.
It looked like he came down awkwardly after the collision with Bradbury. He's going to land on his...
Good coverage.
It's tough to tell whether it's his back or his forearm or his hand. Ooh.
Our third quarter clock at 13:48. We will step aside. Injury timeout on CBS. Rich, if you're a Bengals fan, that is not a good scene.
That's cause for concern. You see the trainer there stretching out the groins of A.J. Green, and hopefully he's able to return. You look at Dalton on third down. He's been 4 of 6. All 4 completions have gone for first down.
Bernard is back in third down and 4. Dalton, here comes the rush. Gets away from Addison. Or did he? Nope. Got him just enough. And down he goes. Back at the 44. First sack, loss of 10.
Well, you're going to see a little TE stunt, and this frees up Mario Addison, and center's not able to get back there quick enough, and he's able to get Dalton on the ground. We'll do a quick enough job switching that one off up front.
First sack in the last 8 quarters by the Carolina D. And they're going to move him back here a little bit as Huber's going to punt again.
Well, the pass protection has been a point of emphasis. You look at Dalton, he was sacked 80 times the last 2 seasons. The number's way too high, and they made significant changes with their offensive protection schemes.
Winless day, Huber to punt. Moore is back, the rookie. All-time gross and net leading punter for the Bengals from the 20-yard line. Hang time of only 3.6. And Vegelum gets down there to make the stop. 38-yard punt, 5-yard return. Here's a look at the two quarterbacks, both drafted in 2011.
Yeah, and both have had success in this league. You look at Dalton, he's been to Pro Bowls. Cam Newton has taken his team to a Super Bowl. He's been a league MVP, and both have been pretty efficient today. The thing I like about both, they're different. Obviously, Kevin more apt to run the football. He's got a different body type. Dalton, very efficient and accurate from the pocket. But you watch them today, both are playing the game fast, right? They're making quick decisions. They're getting the ball out on time. They look like they're in complete control of things when they're functioning and operating from under center.
So Fedulum walks off under his own power. He was the down player on that special team. Remember, he returned a fumble against Indy week 1, 83 yards for a touchdown. McCaffrey is back there, 99 yards rushing. Newton's got 4 yards rushing, but a rushing touchdown. 1st and 10, Moore is in. McCaffrey looking for a block, and he got it right there by Clark and others. Into the secondary, brought down by Williams. Gain of 11 up to the 35-yard line. Let's go to Steve Tasker.
Yeah, down here on the Bengals sideline, A.J. Green does have a groin injury. He's questionable to return. I think, Kevin, it's the spot where it's a muscle injury. It's never going to get better by playing hard on it, so they're gonna wait and do some evaluations during the week. But it doesn't. A.J. Green is questionable to return to this game. It does not look good.
Thank you. McCaffrey over 100 yards rushing after that gain of 11, 1st and 10. McCaffrey again. Tight end block. Big hole into the secondary he goes. There was a tackle by Bates, the rookie. It's a 19-yard run. He's down to the 46-yard line of Cincinnati.
Boy, you just got to keep feeding. Watch this kick-out block he gets from the fullback, and then McCaffrey's just going to wind it back. But you just got to keep feeding McCaffrey. He's hot right now. It's already over 100 yards, 13 for $129.
Career high here today for McCaffrey, who had 14 receptions last week. Cam Newton on 1st and 10, and nobody home. His receiver Funchess was at the 35. Williams was tracking that down at about the 10 of Cincinnati. Funchess was picked up by Kirkpatrick. Incomplete pass.
Good visit with Dre Kirkpatrick last night. He's working against A.J. Green in practice every day. Has made him a much better corner, and you look at the challenge that he has today. This is a secondary that wants to play a lot of press man-to-man coverage. They play with their back to the quarterback, but they want to get up to the line of scrimmage and get their hands on these receivers.
Kirkpatrick, the 4th most targeted quarterback in pro football. 2nd down and 10. McCaffrey again. He was trying to pick and poke, and then Denard got him and just kind of knocked him off his horse on a gain of a yard to the 45.
And when you can't stop McCaffrey with your front, then you're forced to bring an extra defender down around the line of scrimmage, and that's going to open up some opportunities for Cam Newton here in the second half in the passing game, especially off of play action. Well, it's such a benefit to an offense when you're able to run the football with ease.
Fedulum, by the way, back in the secondary. 5 back there for the Bengals. 3rd down and 9. They need the 36. Blocked by McCaffrey. Cam. Almost picked off Kirkpatrick. And Smith was in the vicinity. It is incomplete. 4th down. Here comes the punting unit for Carolina.
We talked about Dre Kirkpatrick. Now he's playing off coverage. He see him jump inside. You look at Torrey Smith, and he has played a lot of football against Torrey Smith when Smith was with the Ravens, but it's good anticipation by Kirkpatrick jumping that dig route.
Michael Palardy will punt for Carolina. Most of his punts have resulted in fair catches. He's also put 5 inside the 20. Coming into today, Alex Erickson calls for a fair catch at about the 11-yard line. 35-yard punt. Here comes Dalton, down by 7 on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find your beach. State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by the new super powerful Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Rich was over at the Sea Life Charlotte Concord Aquarium with their 26,000 square foot indoor aquarium. About 20 minutes from here. A.J. Green is out still. Looking at him. Worst beginning field position for Dalton from his 11, 1st and 10. Giovanni Bernard. Kuechly has got a track on him. Out of bounds at about the 13 on a gain of 3. Kuechly is so fast. Flag on the Bengals.
Holding offense on the 77. After this for the goal. Replay, first down.
Left tackle Cordy Glenn. They got him in a trade with Buffalo.
You know, it significantly changes the way Carolina may decide to play defense in the second half without A.J. Green in the lineup. You're less likely to have to roll coverage his way or double or playing in and out or a bracket on him. It allows you to play a lot of singles and to get that extra safety down around the line of scrimmage, or to bring some more internal pressure against Dalton.
5 defensive backs, 1st and 15 with the penalty in tow. Dalton. And a nice catch made by Uzama. He caught a touchdown pass earlier. Down he goes. Adams is there near the 24, pickup of 18.
Boy, play action has been so effective. Watch Dalton turn his back to the line of scrimmage. He actually freezes Kuechly just a moment because he thinks the back has the ball, and that gives him just enough time to find C.J. Uzama. I mean, that's a good-looking design and a good-looking throw by Andy Dalton.
Alex Erickson is in the backfield, 1st and 10. The fake and the throw, and it's bombed up. And was it caught? It might have been. Obata, did he scoop it? Yes, he did. How about that? Cheerio. The native of London comes up with a deflected interception, a turnover, the second pick thrown by Dalton today.
Well, it's a good job by the corner driving on the ball. There's Bradbury. That thing goes way up. Actually leaves the screen. That's how high that ball got up in the air. And Obata, who's made a number of plays in the pass game with the pass rush, he's right there to make the easy scoop. Look at that. He wasn't going to let go of that one. That is a big turnover. This is a unit that's done an excellent job of taking the ball away, either with fumble recoveries or interceptions. In fact, since 2015, Carolina has 91 takeaways. Only Kansas City has more.
Cincinnati came in +2, +3 in takeaways into this game, number 2 in the NFL. But they've turned it over twice. Anderson and McCaffrey there. Anderson, CJ, he'll spin his way near the 23. He'll pick up 3 on the play. He's brought down by Dunlap into Steve Tasker.
F.A. Obata, the man who just caught that pass, is active for the first time as a professional. Grew up in London after matriculating from Nigeria, where he was born, to Amsterdam, then was sent through an intermediary by his mother to live in London. The intermediary was unreliable. He was a victim of human trafficking, lived on the streets, finally got himself through school, found American football as a 20-year-old, made the practice squad for Carolina last year, and today is active for the first time.
Wow, what a great story, Steve.
2nd down and 7. McCaffrey over 100 yards. And gobbled up on that line on that 2nd down and 7. He picks up about a yard on the play. A couple at the bottom of the pile, including Willis in Glasgow.
That's an incredible story. You think about it, they put up his picture, and they had no college under there. I thought of Daryl Dawkins. Daryl Dawkins of the 76ers. But here's a guy that's come in, and it's amazing. He's taken advantage of every opportunity. That is great to see. I'm happy for him.
I don't think he's from the planet Lovetron. McCaffrey has not been thrown to today. 3rd and 6. They got a good block on the side from Clark, and here goes the top rusher in the NFL per carry. And he is ushered out of bounds by Nick Vigil. It's a run of 7 on 3rd and 6 by Cam Newton to the 15 of Cincinnati and a first down.
Well, when you rush 4, we talked about it. You've got to be extremely disciplined with your rush lanes. And what happens is they get squeezed inside and they open up this huge crease for Cam Newton. And when he sees it, he's going to take off. You've got to use your eyes, but also be disciplined in your rush lanes. He is just too good a player. He's got a great, keen sense of awareness to understand there is a gap with the rush.
Here's McCaffrey on 1st and 10. Wrapped up on that line. Glasgow was there. Gain of 3 on the play as he penetrates the 13 to the 12. By the way, that was the second time that Newton has rushed for a first down on 3rd down today. Gain of 7 on 3rd and 6. Ron Rivera, two-time NFL Coach of the Year in his 8th season with the Carolina Panthers. Wild card playoff team last year. Playoffs, Rich, for the last 5, coming off an 11-5 season a year ago.
Well, he's well respected by obviously his team and his coaching staff. But Kevin, he's done it the right way. He was a player. He was an assistant coach. He was a coordinator. He's done an outstanding job as a leader of the Panthers.
Jet Sweet Moore got that block from Arma. Flag is thrown. Williams over there among a couple other Bengals who were chasing on the play. No gain on the play. They stay at about the 12.
I'm going to get a face mask on Williams. Yep. Right there, and he doesn't let go.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. Number 36, half the distance, automatic first down.
Williams coming off a terrific game last week against Baltimore with 8 tackles, a sack, a pick, a forced fumble. He had the helmet-to-helmet. You may recall against Luck in an ejection, Rich, in week 1.
Yeah, unfortunate. It was a kind of an ugly hit. I think he felt bad about it, but you talk about quickly turning the page, Kevin. I thought he came back and had an incredible game last week.
First and goal at the 6, McCaffrey. He got stoned, looked like Lawson in there to hit him first with a gain of a yard.
I'm really surprised that this Cincinnati front 7 hasn't played the run better. We talked in the open about the strength of this unit is their front. I mean, you've got arguably the best 3 technique in all of football, and Geno Atkins. You've got some good depth along that defensive line, and yet this group has not done a good job against an offensive line, Kevin, that's without 3 starters today.
Yep. Second down and goal at the 5. Newton, a second rushing touchdown, bulldozing his way from 5. And the Panthers extend their lead over the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, this is hard to defend, and the reason why is because of the amount of time that Cam Newton left that football in the belly of Christian McCaffrey. Just watch the exchange point and watch him just ride this thing out, then pull it back. And what happens is that's just enough freeze to get that defense moving to their left and be able to create a crease for Cam Newton.
Greg Van Roten throwing a nice leading block for the 6'5 Newton to take it in. Newton has had a touchdown run of 5 right there, 2 earlier, and a 4-yard touchdown pass to Funchess and a 24-yard touchdown pass to C.J. Anderson.
He leaves it in there with what seems like an eternity, and that makes it very difficult for those linebackers and safeties to be able to react. 6 straight runs on that drive. And that is a problem right now for the Cincinnati defense. They cannot stop the run.
And the second turnover for Cincinnati on a deflected ball with the lineman Obata scooping it out on a dive on the ricochet, and a pass thrown by Dalton results in another touchdown.
And now Dalton's got to be able to crank things up here in the second half and do it without A.J. Green.
They're going to review it. All scoring plays are, as you know.
This is a big man coming at you now. This is not a, you think about quarterbacks. When you're a quarterback, linebackers and safeties, their eyes light up when they see you pull the ball down. They want to knock They want to knock you down. They want to knock you backwards. But when Cam Newton's running out, it's a different story. And what did Terrell Austin tell us last night? He said, yeah, they've got him listed in the program at 245 pounds, but don't kid yourself. He's probably closer to 260. And he runs like a tight end or a fullback when he gets down inside the 5-yard line.
As unique a player as the NFL has at that position, wouldn't you say, Rich?
Yeah, he's a different cat. I mean, look at all the pads he's got on. He's got a flak jacket on. He's got these. I mean, he's
hit all the time.
He is hit all the time. I think he's clearly. I mean, he's 2 yards in the end zone. And what's amazing is you typically don't see a quarterback knock the pile backwards. I mean, that's a pretty good tackling safety. And Sean Williams, he knocks him 2 yards back into the end zone. He is a powerful runner.
2 rushing touchdowns by Newton. 2 touchdown passes by the former NFL MVP. Rookie of the Year. He's played in the Super Bowl. Rich was talking about his resume. He's won 3 playoff games. Former #1 overall pick, Newton out of Auburn. At the extra point by Gano. 28-14 Carolina. 14 Panther points off of 2 Cincinnati turnovers. The deflection. A Londoner with the pick. And then Newton taking it inside for 6. Rich, you know, I got to thinking we were talking about with all that padding that Newton wears, but we talked with his center who had high praise for him.
Yeah, I thought that what Ryan Khalil had to say, Kevin, was, I think, speaks volumes of the respect that these teammates have for him. He said he's one of the toughest individuals he's ever been around. He said he plays and practices hurt all the time. And he said, I don't know of a quarterback that can take a hit and get up like Cam Newton. I mean, the vicious, violent hit he took last week, and not only that, but he never left the game. I think it's a testimony to his toughness and determination and grit.
They've had a lot of coordinators here. Chudzinski and Shula fired, and then they bring in Turner. Help people affected by Hurricane Florence and other disasters. Text Red Cross to 90999 to donate $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. Charlotte is about 3 to 4 hours away from the hardest hit areas along the coast. Well, with the Panthers spearheading it, several college programs in North and South Carolina wearing the helmet stickers that say "One Carolina" during their games this weekend. Julius Peppers, in fact, has started a foundation to help those in need. Gio Bernard on 1st and 10, zigzagging his way into the grasp of Colin Jones. A weaving run at 22, and he takes it to the 47-yard line of Cincinnati.
Well, you always wonder, how's this thing get bounced outside? And what happens is he just feels it, but you've got to be able to set the edge. And you see the kick out block from the tight end, and Giovanni Bernard is off to the races.
Bernard, 9 carries, 63 yards. Taking a breather, and Walton is in, the rookie. Dalton with the 1st and 10, quickly outside it goes. Ross. Nice open field tackle by the rookie Dante Jackson. Limits him to a gain of 4 to the 49-yard line of Carolina.
Well, if you study these corners, the Carolina Panthers, the one thing you see is both Bradbury and Jackson, they show up and run support, and they're very good tacklers. Saw that from Bradbury earlier in the game with A.J. Green, and then a couple of times from Dante Jackson. One of their draft picks this season. Both corners have played really well in this one.
3 tight ends below, as you see. 2nd down and 6. Mark Walton remains the running back. Out of the backfield he goes, and downfield with Eifert. Was it taken back? Eifert got the ball. What a catch. Jousting for a reception, a 20-yard completion to the 29-yard line of Carolina.
I don't know what Colin Jones could do better. I mean, look, that's about as good as it gets in terms of coverage. All he's got to do now is just be able to pull his right arm. He's trying to pull it out, but somehow Tyler Eifert is able to hold onto this football and squeeze it. I mean, look at Andy Dalton. He's laughing. He can't believe it. I mean, the nerve to even try and fit that one in. That was great coverage by Jones.
Bernard back in, looking for a block, and he got it from Trey Hopkins, his center. And he's brought down by Adams in the secondary on a gain of 2. Mike Adams, the free safety, 15th year out of Delaware, to the 27.
You know, we talk about tight windows in the National Football League, and a lot of these young quarterbacks that we're watching, Kevin, we saw Sam Darnold last week, they've got a difficult time making that throw, pulling that trigger when you look at how tight the coverage is.
Right.
You've got to give your players a chance to make a play. And, you know, what they say is you know, you look at these college guys, and they come into this league and they say, well, he wasn't open. And the coordinator says, throw it, he's open. I mean, these windows are so small and so tight because of all the man-to-man coverage you see in the National Football League.
They just took Tyler Croft off the field. For a quick look at his situation. 2nd down and 8. Green has been injured. Don't know if he's going to return. On the ground, Bernard, 65 yards on 10 carries. 2nd down and 8. Dalton trying to get away and does. On the move, he's chased by Mayo to the end zone. Touchdown! What a play! Tyler Boyd, 27-yard strike by Dalton. A pretty play by the Bengal quarterback. And Cincinnati is back in business.
Well, we talk a lot about the scramble, Joey. Go ahead and roll it. You're going to watch Andy Dalton. And once he breaks contain, just watch the adjustment from the receivers. And you're going to see everyone's trying to work back across the field. And look at Boyd. He knows that he has to get into the throwing window of Andy Dalton, who's moving to his left, a right-handed quarterback that's moving to his left. Great adjustment on the fly by Boyd.
Bullock with an extra point. Colin Jones was beaten. And Andy Dalton is throwing a touchdown pass. It's his 2nd today. Boyd, the reception. He's been big for the Bengals.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Earlier this month, the Panthers unveiled an updated Play 60 Challenge course at Playgrounds in Charlotte. That's at Freedom Park you just saw right there. Originally built back in 2013. 65,000 people, they estimate, visited every year. That goes over the Terrapin rookie DJ Moore's head. Another touchback to the 25.
Well, if you like good quarterback play, you have to be enjoying this game. And what great design. Not only does he fake the ball to McCaffrey, but he pump fakes it, and then you don't anticipate the back sliding out the back door. That's C.J. Anderson. Great design here. And then, of course, you look at Cam Newton. I mean, just look at this hole. Look at this opportunity for the big, strong, lumbering quarterback. I mean, Kevin, 4 touchdowns from Cam Newton, 2 through the air, 2 on the ground. He's having a terrific performance against the Bengals. He's the type of quarterback that can carry a team on his shoulders.
Cam's got a couple tight ends here with McCaffrey back there. Play action, 1st and 10. Crossing pattern caught by Thomas. He's a rookie out of Indiana, 4th round pick, and he picks up 2 out to the 27-yard line and followed on the play by Vigil. And there is a player down on the defensive line.
That's Billings.
Andrew Billings, former Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year at Baylor, and a 4th round pick. A.J. Green, if you're joining us late, out of the game right now at least. Groin injury. Turned 30 in July. He's done something no other receiver's ever done. Gone to 7 consecutive Pro Bowls in his first 7 years in the NFL.
Yeah, he's had 1,000 yards or more receiving each of the 7 years that he's played, with the exception of 1. Kevin, he missed 6 games with a hamstring in 2016, and yet he only fell 34 yards short. So you know how much this guy can produce and how much a loss this is for Dalton in this offense here in the second half.
Josh Tupou comes in on that line. 2nd down and 8. Newton. McCaffrey with a catch right there, brought down by Williams. First reception of the day after 14 last week against Atlanta. He picks up 11. It's a 1st down, and he's up to the 38.
You know, it's not like McCaffrey has a very complicated route tree. I mean, he runs this Texas or this angle route. He runs a flat route. He runs an under route. But they do it from different locations. You know, he'll line up in the backfield in the eye. He'll line up offset. They'll motion him out of the backfield. He'll line up in the slot. He'll line up outside the numbers. The problem is just targeting him and finding him and locating him in this offense.
He's accounted for 146 total yards today on the ground and through the air. It is a 1st and 10. Newton.
They run out of space on the boundary.
Thomas with coverage in the play by Sean Williams, who punches the ball away, and there's a flag. Thomas with the push, Williams with the punch of the ball. Shove, punch ball, another shove.
Well, that's unnecessary. And
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 36. This will be his first unsportsmanlike conduct towards number 2 as a disqualification.
They missed the first push by the player Thomas.
that drafts coach is crazy. If your passion or your self-interest come before your obligation to your team, then I think you put yourself and your team at risk. Just a poor decision by Sean Williams.
Newton has not been sacked today by this Cincinnati D. 1st and 10. McCaffrey. Pulling was Ryan Khalil, the 33-year-old heavily decorated center for the Carolina Panthers, with a gain of 2 down to the 45. Let's go to JB in New York.
Miami striking back.
Yeah, they're striking back. Jakeem Grant comes across. Oh my gosh, I could have thrown that pass. He takes it 18 yards for the touchdown. Oakland up 17-14 late in the third quarter.
So, Kevin, does Rich Gannon often say to you, I could have thrown that pass?
I could have thrown it.
He says it all the time.
Why not?
You say it all the time.
There's a real lack of depth and talent at that backup quarterback spot. Give me a chance to come back.
2nd down and 8, handoff to McCaffrey. Hit initially by Williams. And he works his way head over heels to about the 41 on a gain of 5. This offensive line of Carolina is just such an incredible story. The Charlotte Observer had some good notes. In the 34 games leading up to today, they've had 5 different left tackles, 3 different centers, 4 different right tackles, 2 left guards, and 5 right guards. Rich, I mean, it's an amazing number that Cam Newton has had to deal with up front, and they're doing a good job today. Again, no sacks on the quarterback.
And how about John Matsko, the offensive line coach, Kevin, their longtime veteran assistant. He's done a phenomenal job with this group.
3rd and 3, McCaffrey. Nice play out there by William Jackson. Throwing him for a 1-yard loss. Good defensive play. It's 4th down. The ball is at the 41-yard line. They'll let the clock run out. We'll go to the 4th and see what they decide to do on 4th down and about 4. Big day for Cam Newton. 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns for the Panthers, who lead undefeated Cincinnati. Let's go to the 4th on CBS. McCaffrey has had an incredible day. Dalton, 2 and 2, and 2 and 2 for Cam. Problem is Dalton's on the 2 picks. First play, 4th quarter, 4th and 4. They decided to go for it. McCaffrey is back there with Newton.
Well, you wonder if it's no snap, no play. I mean, this is an aggressive call. And if it is no snap, no play, it's usually not as effective coming out of a break. Well, they're gonna try it.
Newton deflected at the line and almost picked off on the ricochet by Vigil.
Well, I just don't know why, Kevin. You've got a 7-point lead. You're starting the 4th quarter. And now you turn the ball over and give the Bengals great field position. You almost throw a pick off a deflected ball. A very aggressive call on the part of Ron Rivera with a 7-point lead.
Carlos Dunlap had the deflection. He leads all defensive linemen since 2016 with passes defended. 27th right there. He's as good as there is doing that in the league. Comes up with a huge play on 4th down and 4.
It was great starting field position for Cincinnati.
Bernard hit by Kuechly and by Adams. There is no gain on the play on that 1st and 10 by Cincinnati.
A lot of times when you watch Luke Kuechly, he's already moving before the snap of the ball. I mean, look at the anticipation, the quickness. And I thought it was interesting in talking to the Bengals last night. They said it's so important when you've got a linebacker like Luke Kuechly. You have to be so good with your sets. You've got to be great with your angles to be able to get a hat on him. He's just so quick to diagnose.
Panthers in the nickel, 2nd down and 10. That's caught by Ross, who then is caught himself by Jackson. Out to 45-yard line, picking up 3 on the play. Kuechly, a native of Cincinnati.
It's at Xavier High School.
Yep.
Won a state title.
Born and raised, former defensive player in the NFL.
A great career at Boston College, and you look at those numbers. No one has had more tackles since he entered the league back in 2012. Very difficult player to block. He's a great communicator. You see him communicating to the secondary.
3rd down and 7. Dalton over the head of Bernard. They were crowding that pocket. Short and others in the grill of the quarterback, Andy Dalton. It's 4th and 7. Here comes the punting unit. First 3 and out for Cincy today. So Huber will punt just for the 3rd time this afternoon. First receiver taken in the draft, DJ Moore, is back for the Carolina Panthers inside the 20. Beauty, Moore, waves and is given the fair catch at the 10. A hang of 4.8 on a 46-yard punt. 13-25, 7-point Carolina lead on CBS. Newton, certainly a unique talent. He's got the 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns today, and since 2011 he's done it 4 times. The entire league has done it 4 times. Puts him into perspective. McCaffrey back there, record day running for him with a 1st and 10. The fake and the drop right there by Torrey Smith. He came in that trade for cornerback Darrell Worley after playing a season in Philadelphia with the Super Bowl champion Eagles. 2nd and 10.
You mentioned, Kevin, it's been a busy day for Cam. Last week it was a busy day as well. And I thought it was interesting what he said to Norv Turner after the game. He said, you have to use me more. I mean, I think they threw it over 40 times. He had a bunch of runs, and he said to us in the production meeting on Friday, he said, hey, look, you can't expect a lion to be a house pet, right? So, I mean, he clearly doesn't lack confidence. But he said, hey, I don't want Norv Turner to ever feel like he's going to overuse me. Guy's got amazing energy.
5 defensive backs. Here comes McCaffrey on 2nd down and 10 into a thicket of Bengals defenders and a gain of 2. Hit in there by Tupou and others along with that line, trying to hold McCaffrey in check, but it's been very difficult today, Rich.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success running the football. It's made a world of difference. It's really opened up some opportunities off of play action. Cam's been very effective with the zone read and throwing some of those quick slant routes on the backside with the action away.
3rd and 8, they need the 20. Newton. And what a catch is made. Funchess. Kirkpatrick was right there. 1st down reception. Gain of 20 on the play to the 31.
Well, I love bigger receivers. You see Funchess, he's just going to run the corner route. He's 6'4", he's 225 pounds, and he will go high point the ball. This is a good throw from Cam from the pocket. Trusting the protection, setting his feet, and making a great accurate throw on the boundary. Look at Funchess go up and get it. Watch him high point this ball. And that's the benefit of having taller receivers.
1st and 10. Moton with the block. Oh, from behind, they got the ball. Dunlap knocks it away. And the scrum. Carlos Dunlap got him there again. Carolina's ball. They dig it out. Cam is at the bottom of the pile after that sack right there by the Bengals, the first of the day for them.
Well, Carlos Dunlap comes screaming off the edge. Just going to watch him. He's just going to go right past the left tackle, Chris Clark. Cam never fields him, and then somehow Cam's able to come up with this football. It actually fell right into the lap of Sam Hubbard, the rookie defensive end of the Bengals, but Cam somehow finds a way to get in the bottom of that pile and come up with the football. Great effort by Cam Newton.
Second down and 13. Here comes McCaffrey slicing his way into the grasp of Hardy Nickerson. Gain of 8. He takes it to the 36. Third down at about 5.
You know, I mentioned earlier how McCaffrey's been used last year primarily as a receiver. You're looking through the first 2 games of the season. He had 20 receptions. He was on pace for 160 receptions, and he never really had a big day last year rushing the football. Today, a career high 151 yards on 21 carries, and they need more of this from McCaffrey because he's certainly capable of having production running the football between the tackles.
Noon with a 3rd and 5 to the sideline, high for Funchess. Incomplete coverage there by Darquez Denard. It's 4th down. Here comes the punting unit for Carolina. So the defense of Cincy does their job. Plenty of time and down by 7.
It's a good job getting off the field. You mentioned, Kevin, good coverage by Denard, and Cincinnati's had their issues on 3rd down, but good job there getting off the field.
Michael Polardi out of Tennessee will punt, and deep back is Alex Erickson. He just signed a contract extension, undrafted out of Wisconsin.
Boy, good hang time.
Woo. Sends up a rocket. Erickson from the 6. Hang of over 5 seconds. Weaving his way. Arma gets him. Hawkins there. Josh Hawkins just signed off the practice squad last night. 8-yard return, 59-yard punt. Dalton's got his hands full, down by 7 in Charlotte.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda's family of SUVs, sized to fit your life. Verizon, the best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Sonic, this is how you Sonic.
During that commercial break, we had a little bit of news. Kuechly is going to the locker room for an IV, dehydrated. He only has 4 tackles today. Somewhat surprising for a guy who's always around the ball. 1st and 10 after the Carolina punt. Dalton on the money. It's caught by the tight end, Croft. He's hit by Jones. It's a pickup of 16 on the play to the 30-yard line of Cincinnati and a 1st down.
It's so important to change the launch point, especially against a Carolina defense that can really make things difficult on you if you just continue to throw the football in the pocket. And I think Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator for the Bengals, has done a terrific job moving Dalton, changing the launch point throughout the course of this game.
Multiple in the secondary, 1st down and 10. Gio Bernard wrapped up by Short. Losing about 3. Back to the 26-yard line. Let's go to New York, and here's James Brown.
Back and forth in Atlanta.
That's right. Matt Ryan finds Tevin Coleman for a 4-yard touchdown. That was his 4th, a 5-yard touchdown. That was his 4th TD throw of the day. Then the Atlanta Falcons go for 2. Throw it to Austin Hooper. Atlanta 29, New Orleans 23.
Early in the 4th, back to Kevin.
Tevin Coleman had 107 rushing against this Carolina defense last week. 2nd down and 14, JB. Phil, thank you. Glenn trying to hold him off. on the move. Dalton. He's got the wide open receiver. That's Boyd, and out of bounds he is thrown by Bradbury's Usher. What a play. Again, throwing on that moving pocket. 49-yard completion down to the 25 of Carolina.
Well, you got to plaster these receivers. The problem is you see Boyd come across the screen. It's a scramble drill. He just takes off. And this is all because of Dalton. He gets outside the pocket, he breaks contain, and he makes a terrific throw down the field, moving to his left. Keeps the ball in a throwing position, keeps his eyes downfield, and he doesn't panic.
317 yards, tying Boomer Esiason for all-time 300-yard games for a Bengal. Here's the handoff in the first carry by Walton. Look at him corkscrew his way down to the 17-yard line and hit by Adams. A rookie against a veteran of 15 years in Adams. 8-yard gain right there. Flag, as we said.
Offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty.
It's on Alex Redmond.
I know you had a holding penalty, but that was an amazing run by Mark Walton. In fact, we talked to Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator. He said he went down to work out a quarterback at Miami a couple of years ago, and the quarterback said, hey, look, the best player on our team is Mark Walton. They're excited for him. It's a good-looking run. Looked like they were going to lose about 4, and he wound up kicking out of it. Unfortunately, there was a holding penalty.
First down and 20 with the penalty in tow. They come up the middle with Thompson. Dalton wisely throws it away. Tomorrow on CBS, one name says it all, Magnum PI. Don't miss the series premiere tomorrow 9, 8 Central, only on CBS. So they begin at the 14, and the coordinator, Bill Lazor, calls a couple of passes. Got Croft for 16 and Boyd for 49. He threw the same across-the-body throw to Boyd in the end zone, Rich, for the touchdown.
Yeah, Bill Lazor's job, Kevin, is becoming increasingly more difficult in the second half without A.J. Green.
Good point. Second and 20.
Ooh.
Incomplete. Crossing receiver Josh Malone. Coverage by Munnerlyn.
Well, Captain Munnerlyn's done a nice job. You know, he was here in Carolina. He left. He went to Minnesota with Mike Zimmer for a couple of years. He came back last year, and he's one of the better slot defenders. He's a terrific nickel defender. He can go inside where you have to have great change of direction skills, great quickness. And Munnerlyn does a terrific job.
For a first down, they need the 15. Bernard is in 3rd and 20. Crumbling pocket, deflected ball, incomplete. Well, they had all kinds of guys in there. A congested pocket.
Well, that ball got deflected. Andy Dalton very fortunate that didn't get intercepted. You see the push up the middle. And Dontari Poe. I mean, he is a beast. And he just collapses the pocket.
Peppers.
You see Julius Peppers coming there. He's able to get that left arm on the right arm of Andy Dalton, and that ball just goes up in the air. Last time that happened, it resulted in an interception.
Bullock will try a 53-yard field goal. Away it goes, and no. From 53, the defense of Carolina holds. And the Bengals get nothing out of that drive. Halfway through the 4th, Rivera's defense does their job. Still leading by 7. In the middle there, 38-year-old Julius Peppers. Spectacular defensive play. Deflected on that 3rd down pass, Rich. They miss a 53-yard field goal. The defense holds. They take over at the 43.
154.5 career sacks, Kevin. That certainly gets your attention as you put a game plan in each week.
McCaffrey over 100 yards on the ground. Gets the pitch on 1st and 10 and tackled by Wake Forest rookie Jesse Bates with a gain of 8, steering his way to the 49. Player is down for the Bengals. Glasgow. Helmet is off, and that does not look good. They immediately signaled for him to come over.
He's right in the middle of your screen. It just looks like Hard to tell.
Injury timeout, 7:05 to play here in the fourth. We take a 30-second timeout. Second-year player out of Michigan, fourth-round pick Ryan Glasgow, is the one they are looking at right now, working on his right leg.
Specifically, they're looking at that right knee, Kevin. You can see the trainer out there, the orthopedic doctor.
Former walk-on at Michigan from the Chicago area.
Recognize the doctor. I did a neutral third-party medical evaluation, and he was the one that looked at my neck. So I know he's an
no kidding.
He's an orthopedic surgeon and does great work for the Bengals.
As we know, over 30 medical personnel at every NFL game, and they're staffed in varying degrees of participation. X-ray units at every stadium. But he knew it immediately, Rich. He took off his helmet, and the officials that were there as well signaled for the athletic trainers from the Bengals to come over.
That's a pretty good indicator, and hopefully he's okay. Never a good sign when they bring out that cart, though.
That wave right there was to the Panthers, who went over there to check him out. And there is Funchess, another Michigan Wolverine, to the Wolverine Glasgow.
It's great to see good sportsmanship. And these guys, it's competitive, but they do care about one another. And nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. This game's hard enough. Hard enough to play this game when you're healthy, let alone when you're battling an injury. And so many of these players come out here and practice and play each week when they're not 100%. It's a very physical game. At times it can be a very violent game. As I say, it's not for everybody.
It is 2nd down and 2. Big day for Cam Newton. Big day for the running back Christian McCaffrey. Gets it here. He's got the first down, squirting into the secondary. Brought down by Dunlap. Gain of 11. He's down to the 38-yard line. They move the chains. Let's take you to our CBS studios in New York. And here is James Brown.
Same headline, back in 4.
Yes, Drew Brees, 1-yard pass to Zach Line, and you said 7 lead changes in this game. Now Atlanta driving, trying to score.
Wow, Kevin.
Back to Kevin, Rich, and Steve.
And all of them looking up to 2-0 Tampa Bay. They'll play tomorrow night, the Buccaneers, in that NFC South against Pittsburgh.
Hey, if 56 come, I got to throw it to you now. He's going to say.
First down and 10. McCaffrey read well that time. Dunlap, boy, has he had a second half to talk about or what? Thrown for a yard loss back to the 40 of Cincinnati.
You think of Carlos Dunlap as a great edge player, great pass rusher, but Kevin, he's made a number of plays today in the running game. He's a complete player at that position. Michael Johnson not playing today, but I love these ends. They've got length. One 6'6", the other 6'7". They do a great job getting their hands up in the throwing lanes.
Johnson with an knee issue. 2nd down 11. Cam outside by Vigil, and then Vigil hung with him and brings him down. Minimal gain of losing a yard. Thought maybe he would have nudged that back to the line, but he loses a little bit.
What crazy about how Cam's carrying the football. You see how that ball is away from his body, and pretty good job with ball security. You go back to the latter part of the 2014 season, Cam Newton is 21-3 when he doesn't throw an interception or turn the football over.
Panther offense has not converted a 3rd and 10 or longer this season. 3rd and 11 now. Play clock at 2. They need the 28. Newton chased by Atkins on the move. Got a block from his tight end Thomas. He's short, but well within field goal range, and brought down by Dunlap. They gain 6 on the run.
Boy, it's such an alert play by Cam Newton, Kevin. Rather than just throw the ball away or even worse, take a sack, he's able to pull that thing down and pick up.
Flag.
After the play,
and it was late.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 1. 15-yard penalty to down count.
Well, that hurts him.
I take back what I said about Cam Newton. That was a tough. It's unfortunate. I mean, he makes a great play, picking up some much needed yardage for the kicker, and then he gets up and I suppose he throws the ball down.
Dunlap is the one to get him, and they would have been in field goal range and really put this game in a completely different context. Now they move him back 15, back to the 47. Punting unit is on there on a 4th and 19.
Now you give the Bengals another chance, down by a touchdown with just under 4.5 to go.
So Pilardi to punt, and Erickson is back. Windless day, 84 degrees. Kuechly, by the way, back on that sideline. I think Hubbard was about as close as anyone to getting a hand on that 31-yard punt. The rookie, Hubbard, coming through and playing that one well. He's from Cincinnati and Moeller High School. Next week, we'll be in Foxborough for the Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. That's the first of the doubleheader on CBS. And then it's New Orleans and the Giants. With the NFL today kicking everything off at 12 Eastern on CBS, you're home for Super Bowl 53. Almost got blocked by Hubbard. And he's got a reach, nonstop motor.
Well, if he would have left this,
I think he got a finger on it.
I think that's why the ball wound up where it did. I loved what defensive coordinator Terrell Austin told us last night. He said, this kid's relentless. He's a big guy that runs around like a little guy.
Here come the Cincinnati Bengals. Kuechly, as we mentioned, back out there. Bernard is in the backfield. 3 timeouts, down by 7. Dalton 1st and 10. Got a block from Croft, but then going right by, making the stop. Obata. Oh, as he had some kind of game. 2nd sack by Carolina. A sack by Obata and an interception earlier in the game. It's back to the 7-yard line with the loss.
Kevin, this is a lot to ask from your tight end. He's got to come all the way across the formation and make this block. I mean, this is almost impossible. I mean, you're putting Tyler Croft in a bad situation, and Andy Dalton winds up getting hit right in the back of the head. It's a lot to ask for a tight end who's flanked opposite the formation.
Grew up in London, as we mentioned, and 20 yards to go here on 2nd down, and Dalton a wobbly pass, and that is picked off. Another interception by Dante Jackson. His 2nd today off of Dalton on a ball that hung like a deflated balloon and came down in the rookie quarterback's lap. 3rd Cincinnati turnover.
Well, the pressure comes up off the edges, and what they're doing is they're forcing Dalton to have to step up back inside, and the push in his face, he just throws this one up here. The problem is John Ross,
he gave up.
He just never finished. He never thought the ball was going to be thrown in his direction, and Dante Jackson comes up with his 2nd interception of the game.
He has 3 for the season. 2nd-round pick out of LSU. As he had some kind of beginning to his NFL career.
Kevin, he missed a lot of practice time this week.
Yes, he did. They weren't sure that he had a great practice Friday, Rich, but for the most of the week, he was incredibly limited. 1st down and 10 from midfield. McCaffrey, the hesitation, and then the drive. Into a thicket and a gain of 2, and he's down to the 47-yard line of Cincinnati, and the Bengals are going to take the first of their 3 timeouts.
Kevin, at the start of the game, I said, look, the real battle matchup to watch in this one is the line play between these 2 units. The strength of Cincinnati's defense is their front. Really the weakness of Carolina's offense right now because of the injuries. Without 3 starters is the offensive line. And yet the offensive line of Carolina has dominated the line of scrimmage. I mean, you look at McCaffrey, he's got 171 rushing yards. If you're going to hand out a game ball, I think you got to make sure those big guys up front all get one.
So timeout used by the Bengals. Cam Newton with 2 rushing touchdowns. 2 touchdowns through the air. Cam has won 6 consecutive home starts. And you can smell number 7. But it's only a touchdown game and a lot of football to be played. 2nd down and 8. McCaffrey, there's the big gain up the middle. Tackled in the secondary by Bates to the 37-yard line of Cincinnati. A burst of 11 and a Carolina first down. Let's go to New York. And James Brown.
Kevin, a video game in Atlanta.
Yeah, back and forth. Matt Ryan on the move finds Mohamed Sanu for a 5-yard touchdown. That was 5 TDs, a career high for Matt Ryan today. They got the 2-point conversion late in the game.
Back to Kevin.
Sanu, the former Bengal. First and 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What a day for McCaffrey on the ground, 183 yards. Cam takes it himself. He's got room to roam. Hits the deck. Has the first down. Slides for 13.
Well, he just can't get low to sleep. You're going to watch the backside end, and he's watching the action all the way, but he never feels Cam Newton pull it out. Jordan Willis, watch, he's got his eyes in the backfield. By the time he realizes that it's too late, you're never going to catch Cam Newton. Boy, they have had great success running the football on the ground, over 200 yards today for this Carolina offense.
Another timeout taken by Cincy. They've got one left. The undefeated Bengals leading the North coming into today. State Farm postgame show being put together for you now in New York. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowell with scores, news, and highlights from this week 3. All coming up on the State Farm postgame show from CBS. Newton today throwing 15 of 24, 152 touchdowns, no turnovers. McCaffrey 182 on the ground. Newton has gone for 35 on the ground. First and 10. Gain of a yard right there. Vincent Ray jumping on the back of Cam to the 24.
And this is where I think you got to be smart with the quarterback, right? You're up 28-21. You're closing in on 2 minutes. You've got a running back, Kevin, that's almost at 200 yards. I don't want my quarterback running the football a whole lot in this situation between the tackles.
Rich, today the Bengals came in at +3 in the giveaway takeaway, a big part of their early season success. Cincinnati was number 2 in the NFL in that category, but 3 turnovers today, 2 of which have led to Carolina touchdowns. Have been big.
Yeah, you go on the road, you turn it over. You have very little chance of winning, especially against a team like this with a quarterback that's so dynamic and so unusual. We talked about a dual threat. He's been all of that today for the Panthers.
Even with a second down and 9, McCaffrey from behind Vigil. Gain of about 2 to the 22.
When we talk about running backs, it's all about strength, stamina, and endurance at that position. And Kevin, we've seen a lot of that from McCaffrey today. I said he looks stronger than he did a year ago. And I think the conditioning to me has been so impressive. This guy has shown that he can carry the load for this Carolina offense.
Right around 4,000 rushing yards at Stanford. He's been playing great today and a career day running the ball for the Panthers, up by 7. 2-minute warning.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, enjoyed by giant blue fictional knights everywhere. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
We're at the 2-minute warning, and Cincinnati is out of timeouts, and they're down by 7 points. McCaffrey on the ground, 184. Newton, 2 touchdown passes and 2 touchdown runs. 3rd and 7.
I think I'd hand it to 22. Just give him the ball. Give him one more opportunity.
You're right. There it is. Since he read it, no gain on the play.
Well, it's been an impressive performance from Christian McCaffrey today, Kevin. 28 carries, 184 yards. You know, last week he had 14 receptions, just 2 today, and he laid it all on the line today. That's a gutsy performance from McCaffrey, who a lot of people criticized and said last year that, you know, never had a 100-yard rushing performance, said maybe he's not that type of back. I think clearly he showed today that he can do it all. He's an all-purpose back for the Panthers.
You're going to run the clock to about 116, 117, 116. There you go. State Farm postgame show coming up. JB and Company. A lot of news, a lot of scores and highlights to get you caught up on. All next from New York, the State Farm postgame show. F.A. Abada, who spent all of last season on the Carolina practice squad, has come out of no place and had a terrific day. As good as Newton has been, as good as McCaffrey has been, Abada, who wasn't on anybody's radar, playing today with a sack and an interception. He was signed, and Steve gave us a little bit of background on him, on the International Player Pathway Program by the NFL back in May of 17, and like we said, was a practice squad player last year. But what a day he's had. 40-yard field goal try by Graham Gano. And that is perfect. 31-21, 10-point Carolina lead, 40-yarder. And on the season, Graham Gano, 3 of 3 in his field goal tries. He's now made the last 32 field goal attempts at home, dating back to 2015.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned Efe Obada's day today. It's been fun to watch. He played with a great motor. This is the guy that doesn't take plays off. You see the hustle right here, the interception. The pass rush was phenomenal. Andy Dalton never felt him coming. And congratulations to him for, as we said, just a wonderful player, but a guy that took advantage of an opportunity. Things weren't always easy for him, but he stuck it out, and he's really making a name for himself in the National Football League. A guy that was on the practice squad that now is a contributing member of the 53-man roster.
He was also on the Dallas practice squad and the Atlanta practice squad, but he's come to Carolina, whether it's been Julius Peppers or whoever, they have got him up and running, and now he becomes a force. Born in Nigeria, as we talked about, but moved to the Netherlands and then to England, where he grew up in London. 10-point lead, Carolina, since he out of timeouts. The ensuing kickoff after the 40-yard field goal is out of the end zone to the 25.
Well, it's amazing how quickly things can change in this business, right? The Bengals came in undefeated. They're playing some of their best football offensively. They looked unstoppable. You lose A.J. Green in the second half. Dalton has three uncharacteristic interceptions. And the other thing that was surprising, Kevin, their inability to run the football.
Yes.
They did not have a lot of success running the football against this Panthers front seven.
Now, Bernard averaged a lot. He has 12 carries and 61 yards.
And it's been a 23-yard run for one of them.
He did. 1st and 10. And they go outside. A.J. Green has been out here for a while. That is caught by Eifert, who's had a big day. 11 yards on that reception up to the 36-yard line. Eifert's got 6 catches and 74. Boyd today, touchdown reception. 6 for 132 for Cincinnati. 1st and 10. Round the block at that left tackle. Here's Bernard. Kuechly fully hydrated now, or at least they filled the tank up a little bit with the IV and some guzzling Gatorade by him, and he's back out there. Gain of 4 on that play.
Well, his first step quickness, we've been talking about it all day. His ability to anticipate and decipher plays is incredible.
2nd down and 6 for Andy Dalton. And on the side, he's got his other receiver who doesn't see a whole lot of time. That's Josh Malone with the catch right there. First he's made. It's a gain of 12. He's out of bounds. 48-yard line of Carolina. Marvin Lewis looks like he'll take a 2-1 team back to Cincinnati. They take on Atlanta next week in Atlanta. That'll be tough. 1st and 10. Carolina's got a bye. Dalton underneath. Bernard drilled down the play by Shaq Thompson. That's a gain of 8. Dalton today 29 of 44. 352. 3 picks, 2 touchdowns. He'll spike it here with 3 seconds left. Now it'll be 3rd down and 2.
The only problem with Cam Newton is he doesn't have a lot of fun playing the game.
Yeah,
If there's one constructive criticism that I have for Cam Newton is I wish he'd enjoy it a little bit more. You know, I mean, he's always so serious on the sidelines. Look at him.
7th consecutive home victory for Cam as a starting quarterback. Panthers are going to go to 2-1. Since he's going to fall to 2-1. Final play here for Dalton. Loft one up and intercepted by Kuechly. He's got a ton of interception in his career. You know, he leads the league in tackles since he entered the league in 2012. Comes up with the interception. Carolina 230 yards on the ground. They didn't turn it over. Almost 34 minutes of possession. Cincy 4 turnovers, but 3 in the body of the game. Coming up next, State Farm postgame show. Rich Gannon and Steve Tasker, Kevin Harlan saying good night from Charlotte. We'll take you to New York for all the scores, highlights, and news of a busy week 3 in the NFL. Right after this on CBS, home of Super Bowl 53.